हरे कृष्ण ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीमद्भागवतम in story form chapter 92 Akrūra's vision Canto 10. While being honored so much by Lord Balarama and Lord Krishna, Akrūra, seated comfortably on a couch, felt that all the desires he had contemplated while coming to Vrindavana were now fulfilled. What is unobtainable for one who has satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead? At last, Krishna and Balarama came to bid Akrūra good night. At this time, Lord Krishna said, "My dear uncle, just see how much suffering I have caused my offenseless parents. Because of me, their sons were killed and they themselves were imprisoned. Now please tell us why you have come here." In response, Akrūra relayed Kamsa's message and informed Krishna of all that had transpired in Mathura. He told of Kamsa's real intentions and how Narada had informed the king that Krishna was actually the son of Vasudeva. Upon hearing all this, Krishna and Balarama mildly laughed and then went to inform Nanda Maharaja of Kamsa's orders. In turn, Nanda Maharaja had the village constable make the following announcement throughout his jurisdiction: collect all the available milk products as well as other valuable gifts and yoke the wagons. Tomorrow we will go to Mathura to see a great festival there, and we will make our presentations to the king. When the gopis heard that Akrūra had come to Vrindavana to take Krishna and Balarama to Mathura, they became extremely distressed. Indeed, some of the gopis became so upset that they stopped all their activities, like one who is called forth to die at once. While remaining stationary, they became fixed in meditation and completely unaware of the external world around them, just like those who attain the platform of self realization. The gopis' anguished faces lost all luster, their breathing became hot and heavy, and some of them fainted. The gopis would become afraid at the prospect of even a brief separation from Lord Mukunda. Now, at the thought of the great separation to come, they were beside themselves with anxiety. The gopis gathered in groups with quickly beating hearts and spoke as follows: "O Providence, you have no mercy. You bring embodied beings together in friendship and love and then senselessly separate them before their desires are fulfilled. This whimsical play of yours is very childish. First, you showed us Mukunda's face, framed by dark locks of hair and beautified by his fine cheeks, raised nose, and gentle smiles. And now you are making that face invisible. This behavior of yours is not at all good. O Providence, although you have come here with the name Akrūra, you are indeed very cruel, for like a fool you are taking away what you had given us. These eyes, for without being able to see Krishna, the eyes are useless. Oh, Nanda's son, who breaks loving friendship in a second, is not even looking at us. Forcibly brought under his control, we abandoned our homes, relatives, children, and husbands just to serve him. However, he is always looking for new lovers. Tomorrow will certainly be an auspicious day for the women of Mathura because all their hopes will be fulfilled. When Krishna enters their city, they will be able to drink from his face the nectar of the smile that emanates from the corner of his eyes. O gopis, once Krishna has fallen under the spell of the honey sweet words of the women of Mathura and has been enchanted by their alluring smiles. How will he ever return to us unsophisticated village girls? He who is doing this merciless deed should not be called Akrūra. He is so cruel that without even trying to console us, he is taking away Krishna, who is dearer to us than life itself. Hard-hearted Krishna is already mounted upon the chariot, and the foolish cowherd men are hurrying after him in their bullock carts, without having even bothered to inform us of Krishna's departure. Even the elders are not trying to stop Krishna. Today, fate is working against us. Let us go to Madhava and stop him from leaving. What can our family members do to us? When Krishna brought us to the Rasa dance, we enjoyed his affectionate and charming smiles, his delightful secret talks, his playful glances, and his embraces. In this way, we passed many nights as if they were a single moment. How is it possible for us to now tolerate his separation? How can we exist without Krishna, who in the evening would return to Braja in the company of the cowherd boys, his hair and garland covered with dust raised by the cow's hooves? While playing his flute, Krishna would captivate our minds with his smiling sidelong glances. The gopis had carefully hidden their conjugal love for Krishna, but now they forgot all shame and cried out, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. At this time, the gopis prayed to the demigods to create some natural disturbance that would prevent Krishna from departing. They felt as if everyone was indifferent to their plight, and indeed it seemed to them as if everyone was plotting against them to take Krishna away. In this way, the gopis became more and more distraught, crying all night before Krishna's departure. Early the next morning at sunrise, Akrūra completed his morning worship and other duties and then got onto his chariot. Led by Nanda Maharaja, all the cowherd men followed behind Krishna and Balrama in their wagons, which were loaded with presentations for the king. The gopis then came and surrounded the chariot in spite of being forbidden by Krishna and gazed at him with pitiable eyes. Krishna also became very affected by seeing the gopis, but since it was his duty to depart, he tried to console them by assuring them that he would soon return after finishing his business. The gopis persisted in their attempts to detain Krishna, but finally they stood still as the chariot continued on. While remaining motionless like painted figures, the gopis sent their minds after Krishna and then stood until the flag on top of the chariot became invisible. At last, the gopis returned home with disappointed hearts, convinced that Govinda would never return to them. While traveling at the speed of wind in that chariot with Krishna and Balrama, Akrūra arrived at the shore of the river Kalindi. While Akrūra parked the chariot in the shade of a big tree, Krishna and Balrama went and drank a little water from the river. After they were once again seated on the chariot, Akrūra took their permission and went to bath in the river. While immersing himself in the water and chanting the Gayatri mantra, Akrūra suddenly saw Krishna and Balrama within the water. He thought, I know that the two sons of Anakadundubhi are seated on the chariot, and so how can they be here? Perhaps they got down and quickly came here. Being thus perplexed, Akrūra came out of the water and saw Krishna and Balarama seated on the chariot as before. Wondering, was the vision I had of them in the water an illusion? Akrura re-entered the water. There he saw that Balarama was now Ananta Shesha with thousands of heads and thousands of helmets. His garment was blue and his complexion was white. Akrura saw that Krishna was now lying upon Lord Anantashesha in his four-armed form of Mahavishnu. His complexion was like a dark rain cloud. He wore yellow garments. His smiling face had reddish lotus petal eyes, and his glance was endearing. The Lord's broad shoulders and expensive chest were beautiful, and his arms were long and stout. His neck resembled a counsel, his navel was deep, and his abdomen bore lines like those on a banyan leaf. His hips were wide, his thighs were like an elephant's trunk, and his raised ankles reflected the brilliant effulgence emanating from the nails of his petal like toes, adorned with a helmet, bracelets, and armlets, all of which were bedecked with priceless jewels and also with a belt, sacred thread, necklace, ankle bells, and earrings, the Lord shone with dazzling effulgence. Gracing his chest were the mark of Srivatsa, the brilliant Kaustava gem, and a flower garland. In his hands, the Lord held a lotus flower, conch shell, disc, and club. Surrounding the Lord and worshipping him were Nanda, Sunanda, and other personal attendants, as well as the four Kumaras, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods, and the best of devotees, headed by Prahlada, Narada, and Uparichara Vasu. Also in attendance were the Lord's principal internal potencies as well as his material energies. Upon seeing all these, Akrura became overwhelmed with devotional ecstasy, so that his hair stood on end and his body became drenched with his tears. Somehow, steadying himself, Akrura bowed his head to the ground. Then, with hands joined in supplication, he very slowly and attentively began to pray. Hare Krishna.